tell me what grade you're in and what sport you play.
I'm a senior in high school and I play lacrosse.
And tell me what's been going on right now. I imagine you really want to get on the lacrosse field again, but what's been going on?
So over this past summer, I made the decision to transfer from my home high school to a different high school, still within the same county, because I felt as though I needed to get out of an unsafe environment, and I really wanted to enjoy my senior year and make sure that I wasn't so overly excited to go to college. I wanted to make sure that I still had lots of good memories, and I didn't feel like I could receive that support and be as authentically myself and as much of an involved student as I would have been. And so over the summer I decided to make the change, and I went through the whole transfer process. The county gave me the approval, and they told me that they hoped I had a great senior year. And then we were informed that we could apply for the sports waiver process because it appeared that we had a pretty decent case for it. So we went ahead and we applied, and then sort of got involved in this whole mess of being wrongfully denied because I, according to the rules that is in the governing body's handbook and all of that, they do say that going through what I've gone through and being in the situation I was in, I should have qualified for what I was not given, basically. Yeah, I feel like that covers it.
You felt unsafe. Would you tell us more about that?
I felt like as time had gone on, I felt less and less supported as simply just as being a student there, and nothing occurred within like any sort of administrative issues or anything like that, but just with my peers, dealing with a lot of like social issues with them and not feeling very included or feeling like I had a place while I was there amongst the grade and beyond, especially when it came to the lacrosse team. And that, unfortunately, was kind of my main social circle, which didn't help at all with the situation. So I felt like if I were to stay at my old school for senior year, I wouldn't have had the experience that I not that I wanted, but that I needed to be. And I felt like I owed it to myself to put myself first and make sure that even though it would cause some ruffled feathers eventually, that I protected myself and showed to myself that I was strong enough to get out of a dangerous and unhealthy situation.
Your parents stepped in, and what has this process been like trying to get your daughter at her new school to play lacrosse? What has this process been like? If you could describe in words, has it been frustrating, upsetting? What has it been like?
Yeah, it's been maddening. And I think what's important to understand is that because this is a policy that has to do with Virginia High School League, it's not just athletics, it's not just sport. She worked on the yearbook at her old high school, and if the yearbook had participated in any kind of competition judged by VHSL, she couldn't participate in yearbook. If you are in the theater program and you do the VHSL competition, you can't participate in theater in the new school. So it's not just you took away what her doctors have said, what her mental health therapist has said is the best avenue for her to heal, but you've told her that she can't participate actively as a full student because your policies that you applied improperly don't allow for it. It's maddening. It's so frustrating because no one on the school board side of this will talk to us. They won't listen to us. They're ignoring us. We spoke at their board meeting 3 weeks ago. We have emailed them every day since, and not one of them has responded. If you multiply 9 members times how many emails we've sent, that's a lot of opportunities to have this conversation. We do believe they're being told they're not allowed to speak to us because we had to preserve Lily's right to play and participate by filing an appeal in the circuit court as our rights allowed us to do. And they're using that and hiding behind that not to talk to us. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why can't we have a conversation about mental health? Why can't we talk about why this makes a difference to not just Lily? And I think, that's one of the things we don't want it to look like. Our kid deserves to play, but this is happening. If the county believes their policies are supposed to work the way they are when we know they're not, and we've gotten written confirmation from the high school league that they're wrong. What other kid, like how are other kids being treated? We need the county to show us that their words they're putting out on their website, that their first tenet of being a good county is empowering students. Well, you're punishing students right now. You're not empowering them. You're telling them, we're so proud of you for taking advantage of this opportunity to move schools and standing up for yourself and saying to your parents and to other trusted people at the high school, I can't do this anymore. I need help. You're now telling her, we're going to take away your activities. Thanks for trying to help yourself, but you can't heal anymore. It doesn't make any sense.
So I changed high schools when I was a junior in high school.
Oh, wow.
I went from Michigan to Minnesota.
Okay.
It's not easy, is it? Because you're starting in some ways from scratch. You're building new friend groups. And what's that like for you?
Well, the county process, like the whole transfer process itself is set up where you can request the school you would like to be moved to. So I chose my new school because through my club lacrosse, I had friends that go there, not even from a lacrosse standpoint, who I've been around socially and loved to be around when I was outside of my school, because I knew that they would be there for me, and I knew that going in, I wouldn't just be a random new kid, because I already had them, and they were lovely, and they introduced me to so many people, and that was a great way I was able to meet people. But I knew, like I said in my transfer letters, I said I have a group of people that will support me, so I was very grateful for that. But I also, at my old school, I managed the football team. And that was one of my favorite parts of being at that school. I loved it so much. And so when I moved, I knew that I wanted to keep doing that. And that was an amazing way to meet people, because it just gave me an entirely different group of people to talk to and get to know even before school started. So I didn't feel completely alone when I went in. But it has been really hard, because most of my teachers and most people do kind of know me as the transfer, because there's not that many of us, especially as a senior. There's not even that many people that are moving in that are new. So it's definitely been a different thing to come into a place that's very much settled and everyone has their people. They've been in school together since elementary or middle school. But overall, just being at that school has made me realize that I did really make the right choice, because the teachers are amazing. The administration has been amazing and super supportive. And I really felt like I made the right decision. And so it's made that fear of being new go away a lot easier.
I think I've seen LCPS's new logo at school board meetings, and it has different E's, and the E's stand for different words, and I think one of the words is empower. Do you feel empowered as a student?
I feel more grateful that the previous board, that specific group of them, gave me the transfer, but I feel just kind of deflated, because we got the initial denial and we started the whole circuit court process and all of that in August, and it's almost February and the season starts in 20 days. And so I feel like they say a lot of words that they don't really mean, and that word definitely I don't think they really take into consideration. I don't want to be praised and rewarded, but I think I don't know anyone else who's done this sort of thing. And so I feel like they could have made me a good example instead of been so focused on trying to make me a bad one and the villain in this situation.
In 20 days, or February 20th, right? That's tryouts for the season. Circuit Court, I think you told me it's not going to hear anything until 3 days after or so. Either one of you can answer this question, but tell us about the sense of urgency that you feel right now, because tryouts are happening very soon. I'm sure you want a decision very soon so that you can play. Any opinion on that?
Can I?
Yes.
One of the things I think we were so glad that we took a pretty scary step and moved her in her senior year, and she has had so many better experiences, but this cloud has been hanging over us, because she's had injuries, she's missed games for injuries, but to have to stand on the sideline and watch everyone play this sport because a group of adults wouldn't stand up and do what they were supposed to do and do the right thing, it does feel, there's a sense, it's not a panic, but it's a lot of, it's pain. There's no reason we're in this position we're in. She qualified for the waiver based on the policies that are set out. We should not be doing that. You and I should not be sitting here because these adults should have done their job. And so it is, chest tightening to think of her being kept off the field because she stood up for herself and said, I can't go on in the way I'm going on. Adults, can you help me make a change? And then being told that the change comes with punishment. It is maddening and infuriating, and you do feel like you're running out of time. Like, we have 20 days to get this wrapped up without 15 extra steps through the courts and everything, when the county could fix this in one quick step.
How long has this been going on for? Like, when did the process begin?
July?
The waiver, we submitted my initial transfer request on May 1st.
May 1st of last year.
Mm-hmm. And the waiver, and the waiver we applied for was in June. We had our hearing August 3rd or 4th. Mm-hmm. So since August, how long? 6 months, 7 months, 8 months? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did the school system tell you that kind of led to this legal action?
Well, the board has not spoken to us at all since we left the waiver denial hearing. The county attorney told our attorney that if we wanted to preserve her right to appeal, to give him a letter that said basically we're going to follow through with that step, and he would get it in front of the board. Never happened. Then he said, so there's a time limit to that. You only have a certain number of days to appeal the board's decision. And so we followed the rules on that one and applied, and the only conversations that have ever gone on are between our attorney and their attorney, and they've been very short, brief, and not very many of them.
Is it frustrating to have to drain resources to sue your own school system?
And we're draining our neighbors' resources because the school system is spending taxpayer money to fight our 17-year-old daughter, who all she wants is to participate as a full student at her school.
What questions would you have for this new school board and the superintendent? What questions would you like us to ask them?
I just don't really understand why they feel like fighting this so hard. I believe that the old board was misinformed and that they didn't fully understand the process. And I think that has a lot to do with some behind the scenes things where certain people are trying to pull their weight and try and get what they want instead of what is for the better of their student. But I also think this new board has kind of just completely ignored it. And this has been a pressing issue since August. And we keep saying this could be something that would be very defining for them and very good for their possible re-election and all of this, because this has been going on for so long. We have no idea how many kids they've messed up like this. And the worst part is I don't think there are that many, because I'm very grateful that my parents know the legal system and they were able to read in between all the lines and see everything, because I don't know how many people got denied and then just gave up because they really didn't know what else that could be done. And I mean, we could write a whole how-to book on every single step you could take now, but I don't know why they're choosing to listen to other people when they could be listening to the one person that it actually involves.
And I have heard school board members for Loudoun County and people in the school system talk about mental health and how playing sports is good for students' mental health.
Yeah, they just held a conference on Saturday at one of the high schools where one of the speakers covered the benefits of playing sports on children's mental health. And so the irony, the hypocrisy to advertise that you can come learn about athletics and mental health at our school, and then we're spending all our time and resources fighting to get you to put action behind that. I'd ask them why. I think there's no reason. And we know that dozens and dozens of people from the county, the country, Canada have emailed them and said, what are you doing? Why do you want to be on the side of being against mental health. Like, what is the purpose of all of this? And they don't respond to anyone. They have not answered anyone's questions.
I think the worst part about the conference and all of that is that they don't even realize the hypocrisy. I think they maybe think about the situation when they get their 12th email of the day or it appears something there, but I don't think they think about it much past. I don't think they're staying up at night thinking about it.
Like we are.
I don't think they do, and I really don't think that they're bad people. I just don't think they understand that they have a chance to do something, that they're the ones in power and they don't have to listen to what anyone else is telling them to do. If they decide they want to do it, they can. And I don't know where they're thinking that they can't, because this could have been very simply fixed in August, in September, in October. It could have been fixed so many times, and it just hasn't been.
I've interviewed one of the school board members that represent you, and that appears on your ballot, and that's Ann Donahue. She's the at-large school board member. She appeared on the ballot last November. And I've asked her, hey, what's your top priority as a school board member? And she said mental health.
It's hard to hear.
Sometimes I feel like I'm screaming into an abyss, but I also think it's very hard when you've had adults ignore you, because usually, at least in my experiences, it's been students and peers that have ignored me and almost like made me feel like my problems and my issues weren't as big a deal as they were. But I think you're taught from a young age that you should always be able to talk to an adult, and adults are there for you because they've lived that part of their life, and they should be more sympathetic and can understand where you're coming from. Like, I wasn't about to go ask my friend how to fix the situation. I went to my parents. I went to my therapist. I talked to people at school that I knew I could trust. I didn't ask all of those like young adults. I asked the actual adults in charge. And so for like even the possibility of someone thinking that I'm making this whole thing up is kind of ridiculous, because I don't like to talk about it. I'm probably a mental health advocate, but I don't think that the best way I can do that is by talking about my own problems. I didn't want to have to do all of this and have to go publicly say all of these things that have been going on, but I had to. And they could have prevented that. They could have prevented making it worse and making me, being so happy at my new school and loving every opportunity I'm having, constantly be weighed down by the past and still be thinking about it, because if this doesn't get resolved, I have to watch the old team who had really hurt me and had really caused me lots of issues. I have to watch them, and then I have to watch a new team who I really, really want to be a part of and should be allowed to be a part of.
You pay taxes in Loudoun County.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the school system should basically be doing better, serving you as a taxpayer?
Yeah. But this has opened our eyes to so many. I mean, we moved here 7 years ago or 7.5 years ago for the schools. We are in Loudoun County because we wanted our kids to go to great schools, and the schools are great. I mean, they're in fantastic buildings. I mean, and for the most part, the schools are fantastic. It's the administration at the board level and the county level that is making this so difficult. I don't think there was anyone in the administration at our old school who was like out to get her. But
I just didn't feel like I could bring it up to any of them.
Yeah, and
that's a
whole other thing. But to sit here and you can't even believe what you're saying. When we talk to people all over, everywhere, I mean, she was just on a mental health and athletics Instagram site where she's received 5,000 likes and almost 300 comments. Every single person is like, what in the world? Why wouldn't you support a child who's trying to solve mental health issues or at least heal from past abuse? What are you doing there? I mean, I heard one person at the last board meeting say, we didn't choose to be here. You did. You sought that seat in that chair up on that dais because you apparently wanted to do better. But so far, you haven't shown any sign that you're willing to step out and say, you know what, this board does stand for mental health and empowerment of their students. This board does stand for transparency. This board is not going to hide behind staff memos and regulations and let themselves get pushed around. But so far they have not.
Do you think they're following their own policies? And if they are, do you think policies need to change?
We know they're not following the policies because we have written confirmation from Virginia High School League, who the board, Loudoun County has agreed to follow their rules as a member of their body. We know they're not following their policies.
But we also don't think they even know what the correct policies are. I think it could have been a long time ago where they started applying it wrong, and they had never had a clue that it was wrong until now, and they won't even take a look to see if they're wrong.
No.
Like they won't admit fault. And I'm not asking to be like validated or to be like patted on the back and given a medal. I'm just asking to be treated like any other student would and not be forced to sit down on doing something that I really do love and that is a huge part of my identity in my life just because I had to move. Even if we had decided our whole family would move, I would have been allowed to play. But just because I said, I love where I'm at, I love my house, I don't want to leave, but I don't want to be at this current school anymore, I don't get to have the same opportunities that everyone else has.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And I was extremely isolated previously, and now I'm just as isolated now. I don't know any other student who's involved in this situation. There is no documentation of this happening to anyone else, and that's partially because we're pushing it so hard. But even at the end of the day, if this doesn't happen for me, this has to happen for other people. If nothing else, I can't sit by and let this keep happening to other people. And that's why I hope people after this are able to see, oh, I can stick up for this. I do have a way out. Because I think because of how this waiver is wrongfully applied, most people don't think they have an opportunity to fix the situation they're in.
Yeah, we'd love to work with the board on the other side of this. Right now, we can't even get a hello in an email, but we'd love to work with the board on the other side of this because it's not working. Yeah, we're not taking care of our kids in the way they should be taken care of.
Yeah, your own elected officials aren't talking to you.
Not talking to us. And, it's outrageous.
Anything else you'd like to add that we didn't cover?
You just said something and I was like, no, I mean, I think this isn't about Lily should get to play. It's about you're in a position to do something to make the lives of your students in your county better. And for whatever reason, they won't step up and make the change that they can make.
I just think they're fueling and adding to the culture that already exists of not being able to think that you can ask for help or think that you can speak up about what you want to speak up about, because they just, at the end of the day, it feels very much in any capacity that everyone in administration, everyone up above us would just prefer that you shut up and just kept going in any situation, not just in mental health. They would much, I'm so grateful that I live in a county that cares so much about academics and cares how well you do, but it seems like nothing past that matters. And they want athletic success, which obviously everyone wants, but if you want athletic success and you take care of athletics so much and you pride it and you at every game go over the VHSL policies for being a spectator at a game and being an athlete on the field, why do you let them govern you in that moment but not in the moment where it actually matters?
Yeah. Somewhere, I think it's in the county, there will be some education on, there needs to be education. One of the things that I would love to see is are we coaching our coaches on mental health? Do our coaches know how to identify mental health issues? And that goes for, directors of the band, every kid, and the stats are astronomically upsetting. How many kids in this country, and especially in an area like this where the academic and success pressure is so high, the numbers of mental health suffering is high, very high, and terrifying. And yet here we are begging someone to listen to us help our kid heal from mental health issues. Again, it makes no sense.
I'm very lucky to have had the support of pretty much everyone around me. Even at like the old school and now, everyone is very supportive. Everyone wants the best for me. But it's so hard to see, like, it just won't go away. Like, there were articles published after the last school board meeting, and the people at the old school like ran with it and decided to turn me into a joke.
Yeah.
I left there so I wouldn't continue to be bullied, and I'm still being bullied because of the board's inability to do something. And I'm so lucky that I was in a very privileged situation where I knew the signs of struggling with your mental health. I knew how to have support. I knew that I had to do something to ask people. I was grateful that I had some people around me who were like, something is going on and you have to fix this. But I think this could be it. I think in our county we're very lucky, but I think in so many other places it's not the case at all. And I'm very, very, very grateful that I had the resources and I had the opportunities to get out. But for so many other people, that's not the case. And they all have a chance to say that they could even take like the national lead on this and be like, this is important. This county is very well known around the country and is respected and is known for its academics. So why can't it be known for its advocacy or its taking care of its students? Like, those are the things that truly matter, because the grades will follow. Everyone is still going to go to the great schools that they're going to. But if you teach kids that it's okay to not be okay and to struggle, they would be so much better off and they would see the success rates, but in a healthier way.